Hello, everyone. Welcome to my presentation on generations in the public sector workplace for MPA 540 Public Personnel Management. I am a part of Generation Y, and after listening to the lecture, I was able to identify with a few of the generational characteristics. The first one I identified with was being social. I feel that that's something that a lot of us in Generation Y are engaged in, just being social. That's we have social media. We have um, even in the workplace. You kind of notice generation people who are from Generation Y because of the way that we socialize with others, and also the characteristic of being diverse. I feel like our generation is definitely the most diverse of all, and our tenacity as well, I feel, is a characteristic of Gen Ys. We definitely are determined to achieve our goals, or I personally think a lot of us want to change the world, and we are very tenacious on that. And another characteristic is needing flexibility. I really do identify with this. I feel like when I've looked into careers, I've always looked into the flexibility factor. And I personally think the career that I'm in right now as a branch manager, library branch manager, gives me a lot of flexibility to be creative and to just use my creativity to serve the community. And that's something that I is a characteristic, my personal characteristic, and it turns out it might be a generational characteristic as well. And for the environment, Generation Y members or individuals also are flexible. They can work from home or from the office, as we've seen now with the pandemic. I think everyone has had to adapt, but I feel that generation or Gen Ys were more adaptable to the change. For me, it wasn't a very big change. I actually enjoyed working from home, and it has been a good experience. I currently serve as a branch manager for two different locations. And a fun fact is that I am actually younger than all my staff members. And so I do have experience with working with different members of different generations. And this has been challenging and rewarding. For the example that I will be using, I will be focusing on my staff members who are from Generation X and the characteristics that I have been able to identify in them after listening to the lecture. These characteristics are being goal oriented. I have definitely seen that if in my staff members who are part of the Generation X. They are always goal oriented, and the planning and preparation is exceptional in achieving the goals. Specifically, these goals have to do with programming for community events, and just the amount of time that they put into it is very is great. And also, they like to have freedom to do it their own way. So this is definitely something that I have identified and experienced in my workplace. And also, I have noticed the characteristic of their motivator being security. So I get a lot of questions on what's going on, how are we going to do this, how are we going to do that. Just I've noticed there's a lot of need for security, and that having security is a great motivation for members of Generation X. The theory that I believe ties into managing generations is Theory X by the theorist MacGregor, and this specifically has to do with motivation, direction, and modification. As I learned from the lecture about managing generations, something that I believe does apply is understanding the different characteristics of each generation and motivating them to be used. So for Generation Y, such as myself being a part of Generation Y, the characteristic of being social, that for in the library field is important to be able to spread the word about community programs, to be able to speak to all the patrons who come in. And then, as I previously mentioned, a coworker who is from Generation X is goal oriented and will have that characteristic to plan and prepare for said program that has been already advertised or has been promoted by a Gen Y individual. And so this is motivating these differences to be used is a great way to have members of different generations working together in the workplace to be productive. This is the main objective of Theory X, is to be able to get the organization's needs met, and therefore it is up to management to motivate, direct, and encourage behavior modification in the organization in order to be productive as a whole. These are my references. Thank you for watching.